Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Are your pets judging you? Yeah, they are. I'm going to talk about the top things I get when I do pet mediumship, what they're complaining about you. All right? Because it's a lot. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
I wanted to start out by saying, after last week's episode, when I was talking about the passing of my cat, the outpouring of love and DMs and messages and comments and your own stories, and just made me feel so not alone. And you guys are just beautiful people, and I'm just so appreciative. So we wanted to make a bit of a more fun episode about how your pets complain about you, because we know they are. And actually, I read a study. Researchers in Japan have concluded that it's true. Your dogs judge you, particularly your female dogs are more judgy, apparently.
So female dogs are judging you. This is a scientific study.
Yeah.
This is fact.
It's fact.
It's fact.
It was a study. And when I read that, I was like, yeah, I know that, because I'm going to get into it coming up.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to get into it.
Well, look, I mean, I know you talk to our animals. You have a language. You communicate with them.
Right.
You claim to talk to them.
You mean our pets?
Our pets, yeah.
Yeah, the cats.
Yeah, the cats, yeah. You know, even when we had a guinea pig, and I think even the hamsters, who knows? But
Normie,
the guinea pig. Oh, Normie.
Norm.
Right. You know, and I would say, for me, I'm sure they have tons of complaints. About me.
Yeah.
You probably hide all these complaints from me. You don't tell me. So I don't know. You want to start with the complaints that they might have about me? Or I have some complaints that I think they might have about you, even though I don't talk to them like you do.
No, you talk to anybody who has pets communicates with their animals. And you know that. I don't have to. People listening are like, they understand that. You have a relationship with your animals. Okay. It's just funny when somebody else can pick up on it too. But for you, the cats, we have Banks and Dusty, and even Rocky, who passed.
Let's conclude Rocky here.
I would say they each had their own distinct complaints about you.
Okay.
Banks is my black cat. He's we call him the gentle prince. Yes. He's sweet, and he doesn't like loud noises. And enter you, like, you're always kind of loud, or you're like walking in and it startles him, and I think overall, like with the cats, you don't move when they need you to move.
Okay.
I always move. I know what spots they like on the couch.
So what you're saying is...
And I'll move and you won't.
So what you're saying, I'm sitting on the couch doing my thing, and then this cat would appear, and I'm supposed to move. Is that what you're telling me?
You see Bing staring at you. Like, why aren't you moving? Like that. Like, you see that.
Yeah, okay. But
right?
Yeah. But he didn't buy that couch.
Yeah, well, they don't think like that.
He doesn't pay, the rent here.
But that's his nap time. He likes to go on the couch and make muffins on this certain blanket and then go sleep.
Okay, so you're saying Bings complains that I don't move.
I think that's a complaint he would have about you.
So you're basically, what you're telling me is I should move when he gives me that look.
Yeah.
And where should I go? To like the uncomfortable chair?
Yes, go somewhere else. Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying you don't have to do anything.
Right.
I'm just saying
that's the complaint.
The complaint.
Okay.
Like, why aren't you moving? Which I think is a big cat complaint in general with people. Like, why aren't you moving? Like that kind of thing.
All right, what about Dusty?
All right,
Does Dusty have complaints about me?
Dusty and you get along real well.
Yeah, I thought so.
Dusty's learned that you're not going to move, so he just starts laying on top of you.
Yeah, he'll just go right on top of me.
Right. So honestly, I don't think Dusty has a complaint with you. He's the one that likes you the most.
Yes. Yes.
Rocky,
he had a lot of
complaints. Might have wanted to kill you.
Yes. No, I mean, I felt that, if he could actually take me out,
he would have. I feel like he understood that you were favorable to me.
Right.
So he understood. So because of that, you were tolerated.
Right.
However, I do feel like he did not hide his disdain.
Right.
No. And again, just because he likes to do what he likes to do, and you have a territorial thing too going on, and I think the cats that have that issue react.
And it might boil down to, I know cats don't have auras, but I think if we did assign Rocky an aura, it would probably been like a red, what do we say, red purple or something. And Binks is like that purple.
He's like pink,
purple. So tricolor, pink,
Binks
purple,
would be like
blue,
pink.
maybe.
Dusty might be like green. Kind of green blue.
Green blue.
Maybe kind of like
maybe a little.
I think he'd have a truck.
Could be a green cois. No? And turquoise
I
in
don't
there?
know.
Eh.
if you think so.
don't
Yeah,
know.
you always think he is, but I
Yeah.
pictured Dusty if he were human, he'd have like a truck. I don't know.
A
And there'd be
truck?
like stuff in the back.
Okay.
You know, he's kind of handy.
Like a handy? Really?
Yeah.
Eh,
Doesn't talk much, but when he does, it's essential to the conversation.
okay.
All right, what do you think they complain about me?
All right. Well, I think it's kind of maybe the same place us humans have.
Which is what, Scott?
Well, I mean, if you listen to some of our kitty litter dads, I mean, you're constantly checking when they go to the bathroom.
This isn't even an ad for Litter Robot, but like I am on top of it.
You like the other day, you went through the list. Like Binks went to the potty at 5 a.m., 8
The Litter
a.m.,
Robot
whatever.
has an app.
And then you actually went and you told me that's like actually the perfect balance of him going
I'm like,
to the bathroom.
That's good.
Like,
he went twice in
right,
24 hours.
right. So,
I was really happy about that.
I can't even say this with a straight face, people. But so I would say that would be like a big complaint that they might have that but again, they might not know that you're watching them, studying their, bathroom
their
habits,
business,
their business.
Right.
I would say maybe like a little over mothering.
Yeah.
And then like kind of like you. I know you say you talk to them, but maybe you talk for them. Like Binks has this blanket.
Yeah.
And you can't, and then he'll like paw the blanket. I think you could say making muffins. You call this.
Yeah, he has a certain
and
muffin
then
blanket.
you'll constantly say he misses his mother. He misses his mother. You miss your mother, don't you?
But poor Binks, he was found in a parking lot as a kitten.
I know.
With his little siblings.
I know.
And his mom wasn't around. I think he's got mommy issues because he loves this one blanket and he makes muffins on it and he kind of it kind of sucks on it. And he needs that.
Yeah, but you'll go
I know
over there.
you guys get like real weirded out that I'm like, leave him alone.
Yeah, you'll go over there and you'll get that blanket all like in the perfect spot for him. And then, come, here's your mother. Yes, go to mother. Okay. Yes.
That makes me sound so creepy.
Yes, perfect prince.
Gentle prince.
Gentle prince.
Well, when I talk to the cats, each cat has their own voice.
Yeah.
I use, which is why, by the way, when I call them, they'll come.
Yeah.
Like every single cat I've ever had will come because they have their own. I have my own voice for each one.
Right.
But it's probably real annoying.
Yeah.
To hear. By the way, and crazy person sounding.
Oh, all right. Too fun.
Anyway, so all right. I'm going to get into, when we come back, the top complaints your animals give me during readings. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. Now, we know our cats are complaining about us, but what they don't complain about is Smalls.
That's right, because this podcast is sponsored by Smalls, and our cats are all fans of Smalls cat food. If you're a listener of this show, you know that my cats cannot live without their Smalls. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality. My cats sit around the refrigerator waiting for their Smalls. They absolutely know when feeding time is. They eat it up and they're happy campers. Honestly, after feeding them a diet of Smalls, I notice that their fur is softer. When they do their business, it is less smelly and they're overall more energetic. Smalls was started back in 2017 by a couple of guys home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. A few short years later, they've served millions of meals to cats across the U.S. And after making the switch to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. And that's a big deal. Now is the time to make the switch to Smalls. Head to smalls.com/KYA and use promo code KYA at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code KYA for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code KYA for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Are your pets complaining about you? Yes, they are. So I love when I do readings when you send me pictures of your pets because they always have something to say. I mean, they really do always have something to say. A little note. Yes, I read animals. They speak in energy to me. So they don't talk, like they don't use words. But they do one better. They give me images and emotions and feelings and sometimes tastes and smells. And sometimes I get shadow pain or places of attention on my body to signal what's going on in their body. So just like they talk to you when you have a pet, you know that you're speaking to your animal, they can talk to me during readings. And I just love doing it because it's the insight. It's the real deal. It's really what's going on in your house. And I wanted to make this a fun episode because sometimes they're a little snarky about it. And the way that they're snarky is, again, they're not using language. It's just kind of this blunt energy or this blunt truth that they'll give me about how you work as a family or as a person. And because I'm an animal lover, I think it's great. And my animals are doing it too. And I think if you have a pet, you probably already know what their complaints are. If you're into pet episodes, my other episodes where I talk about animals are 129, 197, and 239. And finally, I am not a trainer. I am not a professional trainer at all. Any animal I've ever had has walked all over me. I'm 100% a big, I am not, I spoil them. So I'm not a trainer. I don't know the solutions for these things, but I can tell you what they're saying. So just keep that in mind. All right. The number one thing that I get from cats and dogs is, and this is, I'm doing all these like little judgments, is keep your kids under control. Like I get that vibe, that general sentiment from both cats and dogs in kind of different ways. Let's start with dogs. So a lot of times if, we have that family dog, you know what I mean? And if you have one and if you got, little kids, they're looking at you like, really? Or like you bring one home, they're like, we're doing this again, like that. Or they're loud or they're not wrangled, and they kind of look at you like, are you serious right now? Like you feel the judgment. So yeah, a lot of times when I read dogs, when there's kids around, they have a real issue if you're not all in the same room. That's like a big thing. They kind of like just everyone together, and they can get real annoyed or stressed out or kind of like, like that. If everyone's spread out, if you have older kids, they still see your kids as their puppies or whatever. So, when you have older kids, like, well, someone's always gone, there's in and out, and you're in this room and you're in this room and this one's outside and this one left. They don't like that. They really do. And it's sweet. Like dogs, they just want everyone together, and they give me that kind of sense, and they'll kind of internalize it sometimes as anxiety, or they'll get a little bit, they're kind of like us in that, they take it, somehow it became their responsibility to be the wrangler of all the littles, even if your littles are teenagers or whatever. So they can kind of take it upon themselves. And I notice that with dogs, and it just means it's a really good dog, even though they're judging you. They are a good dog. And a lot of times I'll see with dogs, they end up being kind of like, they'll put themselves in a co-parent role with you. And especially when you have kids and they're going in and out of the house, and one's inside and one's outside. I don't know. They love being out. If your kids are outside, they want to go outside. And that's kind of their way of, even if they don't want to. So if you see them kind of just walking around kind of like, oh, this is a lot, or oh, I'm exhausted, or oh God, whatever. I get that a lot on dogs. Like they, just like you, if you're a parent, you're doing stuff that, I guess I have to do this now. Like they kind of do that too. And I just find it hysterical. Sometimes, they have a kind of a long suffering feeling to me, or like, I'm just doing it all, like that kind of vibe on a dog. They get exhausted, and I just think it's so hysterical. They think they're that important, but in their heads, they really, really do. And I feel like that's so sweet. Why we love them so much. And they get very protective of usually the kids, but yeah, that's their judgment. Keep your kids under control, man. But now if you have a cat, they're just leaving it at that. They're like, wow, a lot of times with cats, I'll get the whole thing about the kids is they'll have a favorite. Cats will usually pick a favorite kid. I mean, if there's depends on the kids' personalities. You know your kids, okay? Like, and maybe growing up, you had a cat and you were the favorite, and it's a cat, so you can probably guess who the favorite's going to be. Calm, I'm allowed, in the room, that kind of thing. Cats don't, they don't put up with the stuff dogs put up with, and I think we know that. You have the rare cat that will. And what I notice with cats is, listen, I've had cats my whole life. When you have cats and then you have a baby, what do people tell you, right? Have you heard it? They'll suffocate the baby. Have you heard? I mean, I can't be the only one who's heard that. Like, having babies myself and at the same time as always having a cat, I would hear that from people like, oh my God, you have a cat? It'll suffocate the baby. I'm like, where the heck did that come from? I would love to know, because none of my cats ever wanted to get even that close to my kids to do that. But I will say this. They do have a thing where they like to kind of, and I see this in my own cats, I've had this, but also when I read your cats, they like to lay next to the baby really close. And that's actually just them being protective and sweet. And that's them. They love, that's them, the baby's warm and the baby's cozy and they like the baby's vibe, so they want to be in with that vibe. And that's their own kind of like protective little co-sharing of the vibration with the baby, because cats like that vibe. So I don't know. I just had to bring that up. But cats are more judgmental overall than your dogs are going to be. And I think that that's not news. All the things we think about cats versus dogs in terms of being judgy, I think what in my experience reading animals is true. Now, the second one, this is like a dog one. And it's like, I made all these, I tried to make these all salty because I thought this was funny. A big thing I get from dogs is a complaint from you is like, chill out with the going outside. Okay? Like that, like chill out. A lot of times, and I think it's just because dogs don't understand that there are rules for them going outside. Like, I can't just let you go, unless we live on some sort of farm with no neighbors, which is what they all think life is. When going outside is like kind of an ordeal. Like, where's your leash? All right, wait a second, sit by the door. Hold on, I forgot this, I forgot that, I forgot this, and they're sitting there like, oh my God, like that. And then if you have a yard that's not fenced in, it's like, oh God, no, you got to go out again. Here we go. It's growing up in Buffalo, New York, with my own dogs, it's like, oh God, it is like 0 degrees and I really don't feel like taking you out, but here we go. They're picking up on all that. So a lot of times I'll get this. The way that the dogs are interpreting it is chill out. What is your problem with me going outside? Sometimes I'll get it on animals. It's funny, like they'll go outside and I just feel anxiety on the dog, but it's not theirs. And that could be maybe you have neighbors that don't like the noise of the dog barking, or there's no, the fences not complete, or like little things like that where you're like, oh God, and they feel it on themselves, and then they're going out there and it's something that they'll tell me about. So that's a dog thing. Oh, or you're real controlling about where they do their business. They don't like that. So recently I had a reading and the dog was showing me the backyard and all this anxiety, and I'm like, And the dog was showing me like she had this great spot where she liked to do her business. And it felt a little, I don't know, for her, she was just giving me her own feelings of it was private or it was good. They pick their spots that they like, and I'm like, I feel like there's anxiety with the backyard and she can't go to the spot where she wants to do her business. And they're like, oh, well, we did fence off that part because she was doing her business in this one part, but we wanted the kids to be able to play there. So we fenced that off. I'm like, ooh. And now she feels all exposed when she's doing her business outside. That's the stuff they complain about. This stuff is a big deal for them. This is like their whole world. And when I say this is not to make anybody feel bad. I mean, when you're giving a pet a life, it's a beautiful life. There's a lot of you listening. It's kind of like when your kids complain about something, it's like you could be a dog on the street. You know what I mean? Like, like just how you say to your kids, like, you don't know how good you have it. But this is what they're going to complain about in our reading. They don't have perspective. They're dogs. So yeah, chill out about going outside, man. All right. That's kind of a big thing. And inside too, they'll show me like and this usually happens with my yellow aura pet owners, dog owners, when they come in, they don't know that they're dirty. They just know that you're freaking out about something. Like, so they're just like, whoa. Like they just look at you like, are you okay? So that's a big stressor I get. Okay. Oh, and to piggyback off this one, the next complaint that your pets have is, I hate your neighbors. That is their complaint. Like, man, I hate the neighbors. I hate your neighbors. Like that is a big thing. And usually it's if you don't like the neighbors. They just pick that up and they're just going to carry it outside. Now and they'll show me too, like sometimes if you don't like the neighbors, I'll get this image of them going outside and in one side of my body, because I pick up their physical presence when I'm doing a reading, like one side of their body will be uncomfortable. And that's always my tell that there's some issue with the neighbors. Like the neighbors yell at you about your dog, or maybe the neighbors have a dog too and they don't get along or something like that. So I hate your neighbors. That's a big one with dogs, but with cats it is too. And I'll get a big complaint with cats, like especially if you're living somewhere where you're sharing a wall. So apartments or townhouses or condos, like if you're sharing a wall, like the cat can sense if we don't like the neighbors, or they might themselves have their own independent feeling about the neighbors and have their own personal hatred for them based on the energy they pick up on one side of the wall. And I just think that's hysterical. Like they'll just complain about it. Like cats are the type where they're just like, I don't like that vibe. Ew. That's how they are. So yeah. So 4. This one's funny. All right. So I wrote this one down as, I'll bite them for you. Don't even worry about it. And this is a big dog thing. This I will get with dogs that are a little bit more aggressive, or not like mean aggressive, like they mean it, more just kind of like socially awkward. So this is the dog that bites other dogs or gets in fights with other dogs, or, barks at people, or it's kind of like off-putting to people. Like people are like, oh gosh, did you like that. Like those videos I keep seeing, not friendly, like that. Like your dog who's like this will actually show me that you're super insecure about being in charge. And that's me. Every time I ever owned a dog, especially the last one I haven't had a dog in a long time, but the last one I had was like such a psycho to people. He was great to me, great to my family, but anybody that came up to us, he would try to bite them. It was a real problem. But honestly, it was only when I was walking him, but when my dad was walking him, he was fine. Why? Because my dad's really secure as a leader that way. And me, I'm like, what are we doing? Person. Oh, what's going on? Oh, do I have to say hi? Oh, what's happening? And what does the dog do? Oh, don't worry, I'll bite them for you. And then they'll go away. Then you don't have to deal with anything. So the insecure leadership, and they're not good at being in charge either. So they're like, oh, I'll be in charge and I'll do it by just like biting someone. They don't know how to be in charge either. So it's just like two awkward people. Who's in charge of who here? Nobody knows. They don't know that you're human. You're supposed to be in charge. They just sense that you're insecure with your leadership in general, in life. And then they'll just like take over by being a dog. And what do? They're like, well, I got you. I'm going to be super confident, but they don't know how. So they just like grr and bite and be silly like that. But they're just complaining about you, saying it's your fault that you're an insecure leader. All right, my next one is, this is how they complain about you. Like, I know you don't like it, but I really can't stop. Cats versus dogs. Let's do dogs first. This is like, I get this all the time. I'll be reading a dog and I'll be like, oh, she's showing me like, she just loves the trash, man. And I feel it. It's really weird when I do a reading. It's like, I feel this desire to go into the trash, which is really like, obviously not my own personal thing I like to do. But I would equate it to like if somebody puts like a cheese board near me. Okay, like you ever just be like, oh, it's a cheese board. I don't know. You fill in the blank with what your weird binge food is that you can't say no to, yet makes you super happy. And then after you're like, sorry, like that. Like for me, it's a cheese board. So it's kind of like, oh, I hate all the cheese. Oh my God, it's so good. And then after you're like, oh my God, I just like blanked out and ate like a pound of cheese or something. That's how dogs are to me sometimes. If they have a weird trash thing, or a chew impulse, like they destroyed your shoes or whatever. They just got into it and they couldn't stop. They were like in some sort of bliss coma and they know you don't like it, but they also know they can't stop. So it's just kind of a catch-22 or just there's no way forward here, but they will show me that. And I think that's funny. Now, cats know this too. Cats are funny. And, cats usually don't give me compulsion stuff. They just give, like, let's say, for example, they're spraying. If you've had a male cat and they're not sick or anything, this is just who they are as a cat. They're going to, just spray on your furniture or like whatever, which is like the worst thing ever and super behavioral or whatever. And like I said, I'm not a behaviorist. I do not know how to stop it. I just know kind of like why they're doing it. When I get cats that do that, it's more just, they're just like, yeah, I'm doing it and I'm not going to stop. And I know you don't like it, but like literally I don't care. Like, so at least dogs have the guilt, but the cats do it purposefully. And when they're doing it, they know they're doing it. It's different. It's different than dogs. Okay. When we come back, we're going to have more complaints that I've noticed your animals have about you. Stitch Fix sends style so good you can feel it. They deliver all the confidence that comes from a truly amazing outfit without any of the work. I love my Stitch Fix stylist. I tell her exactly what I'm looking for. If I'm going on a trip or I have an upcoming event or I just need to update my wardrobe for the season, I give her very specific things. And she comes back, she listens, and she sends me them. And my stylist just helps me take my wardrobe to the next level. I mean, she knows what works for me. We've worked together for a while now. Sometimes even better than I do myself. She helps me discover new things about my style. She pushes me out of my comfort zones. And that confidence boost you get when you put on a really amazing outfit? That's what I get from Stitch Fix. When I look good, I feel good, and it shows. Stitch Fix makes it all just so easy. I get outfits that make me feel and look really good, and I don't have to shop. And if you don't like something, you just send it back. Shipping, returns, exchanges, always free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/KYA and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/KYA for $20 off. stitchfix.com/KYA. Must redeem within 7 days of sign up. Next complaint I get, obviously with dogs, is I don't need a leash. Now, I get this all the time. Usually I'll get it on a dog that actually does need a leash. Like usually because it's a weird, every dog's on a leash, but every once in a while I'll get some dog complaining that they're on a leash. Usually it's the two extremes. It's the dog that actually really doesn't need a leash. And I know there's leash laws and I get it, but and maybe you've even been lucky enough to have one of these dogs. Some of them just don't need a leash. I have a dog in my neighborhood and she has a walk with her owner, and man, this dog can see a cat, can see another dog, will not leave her space. Like she knows and she's not on a leash. Now, I don't recommend that at all, but you know what I mean? So that dog, sometimes those dogs in readings will be like, I don't need a leash like that. But then you get the extreme. Like the dog that actually is so psycho when it sees a squirrel that it would run across a highway or something. And it's like, God knows where it would go and end up, and then wake up all of a sudden and be like, oh, what'd I do? Where am I? Where's my owner? Where am I going? Like that. That one will tell me it doesn't need a leash too. So they do complain about the leash thing. Next complaint I get is, why are you leaving me? That's a big one. It's, it's probably separation anxiety. Like, why are you leaving me? Where do you go every day? It's a guilt. The dogs are so good at the guilt. So when I read a dog that has this kind of like, why are you leaving me kind of thing, usually it's because you yourself already feel bad. So it's kind of like you two are feeding each other about it. Like they know you feel bad. They know that you are like, oh my gosh, are they okay? Are they bored all day? What are they doing? I have to go to work, but I feel like they're alone, like that kind of thing. And they sense all this. So dogs, I've noticed, have a tendency to make your narratives true. So if they pick up that you feel guilty and bad, they're like, oh, there must be something she should feel bad about. I'll just have this behavior that gets, and they love attention. So it's attention, negative or positive. They're like, ooh, and I get attention when I do this. It's kind of like you're training them sometimes to make it worse than it otherwise would be. And I know, like I said, you guys, I do all this stuff too, and so this is not no shame here. I've had personal experiences with all of these situations in my own life with animals. Like I said, I don't know how to fix this stuff, but I know like what they tell me in readings, like what it's about. So maybe we can have insight. But yeah, with cats, with the separation anxiety, it's more kind of like, well, I notice with cats, if they're already secure and healthy, like it won't be a problem. Like, so cats don't usually give me like a separation anxiety problem. They give me more if there's something else going on. Like if back to the whole vibration thing, if their environment, they don't feel a good vibe about, then everything is going to be a problem, including and mostly you leaving. Because cats, what I get on them is, you become part of their territory. So when you leave, it's like their territory just left. Does that make sense? And cats are super territorial. I feel like that might be true in research, but that's what I get in my readings. And so when you leave, even more than dogs, like when you leave, they're like, oh, a piece of me just left, like that kind of thing. But usually I'll only see it if they have other issues in other areas too. So if your cat's experiencing that, my tip for you is to be like, okay, what else in this house can I make calm for the cat? Do I need to get one of those pheromone air? They have like cat pheromone, like air fresheners. That's super not what they're called. But they're like a plug-in and it releases some chemical that chills out your cat. I don't know. Like maybe you need to do that, or like reduce noise where you can, or give them their comfort spaces or whatnot, or make it so they can go up high, or get them a cat tree house or something like that. Because I think separation anxiety cats is much more solvable than we think. Okay. The next one is, hey, you give me attention for it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And I see a lot with dogs with barking. So, or stealing food, or just being generally naughty when it's not attached to anything else. It's just when they do it, they get your attention, And I've talked about this in other episodes too. So a big thing with dogs is they just want your attention. And they want a big thing with dogs is if they're acting naughty or barking or doing something and you're like, what? This doesn't even mean anything. Ask yourself, what's going on with me? Because what I noticed is with dogs, especially, they sense your energy all the time. Like they are constantly measuring the temperature of your vibe. And if you're anxious or off or a little erratic or something in your own vibration, they're going to give you something to distract you. So then they're like, I'm barking at the door, Or I'm asking for a treat again. Oh, I just stuck my nose in the trash. And they know that they'll get an immediate reaction out of you. So what happened? They just snapped you out of whatever thought process or anxiety moment or, back memory that you didn't want to be. Anything you're sitting in that's negative or compulsive or anxiety or like of an off vibration. Notice if your dog is doing something for negative attention. Because it's almost kind of like their way of helping you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And then we're yelling at them. We're like, stop it, like that. But what they did was they don't care that you're yelling at them. They're like, oh, they're just measuring your vibe. Like, oh, okay. Okay, she stopped. She's out of her little thought process. Now she's focused on me. I got her attention. Now she's focused on me. Remember, they're pack animals. So it's all about focus, putting the focus in the right spots, sometimes controlling focus, things like that. All right. Oh, this is another one. This is more dogs though. Well, dogs and cats. Cats aren't. Oh, all right. Dogs. Next one, number 9. I'm really sorry I peed. This isn't even a complaint. This is just, they really are sorry. I think with the dogs, with accidents, like if they're not housebroken or things like that, I feel like they're not even aware that they're going sometimes. It just like happens. And then they sit there and just like take on shame as part 2. Because they know that that's okay. I do this, then I do shame. And then so it becomes like a 2-part thing. They are really sorry. So they'll show me this. It's kind of like the compulsion thing with the trash or the chewing or whatever. The peeing inside, they're like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like they know when they did something you don't like, but they don't know what they did. That's with dogs. Like they don't even know, they don't know how to stop it or something. They just did it. And they know they have to feel bad about it, but they don't have any like precursor skills to not do it. I hope that makes sense. But cats, when they pee, unless they're sick, obviously, or something, they do not care. They're just like shrug. Like my cat, when I moved, who decided to leave me a present on my bed. And that was just to tell me I am not cool with us moving. Just so you know. And I was like, message received. Because that's more a cat thing to do. Like, I'm going to leave this little present for you just to tell you that you suck. And then you're like, got it. I suck. I get you. Little different. Okay, last one. We have to talk about biting, cats versus dogs. Okay. We'll start with cats this time. I get, and the complaint I get is, it's your fault, lady. And this is more cats. Like, that's your fault, lady. That's your fault. And I think with cats with biting, and I've had lots of cats, if you're don't play with them with your hands, because they might just look at them as toys and they don't. And so when they bite you or scratch or like whatever, and it's your hand, like you went to pet them and they're like, like that. They're just like, what? Isn't that a toy? They don't register that that's you. So yeah, they just don't feel, they're just like, what? That's your fault, not mine. You put it in my area. It's a toy, like that. Dogs and biting. Dogs, I just get like, they're trying to tell you something. I don't even have a complaint for this. Sometimes I get they're trying to tell you something. And obviously, you know what your dog's trying to tell you and you know what the bite's about, but it is a language for them. And, I think growing up, it was a big thing. Like, you don't ever let them bite, not even once at all. But some of us are here now and we have a biter. And, and it's something that's not cute and it's not fun, but it's like a language. And so, like I said, I don't know how to stop it, but I do know that sometimes they do it to try to get your attention, to talk to you, to snap you out of something. This is dogs, to snap you out of something. Cause it's how they talk to each other. Or when they're doing the insecure leadership thing where they're like, you don't know what you're doing, so I'll do it, like that. I hope you all tell me what you think your animals are complaining about you. I think it's so funny to hear the personal examples of what your animals, and you know what they're complaining about. And let's go do that over on the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family Facebook page. I sign up for subscriptions. I conveniently forget that they're on auto pay. And here I am. How much do you think you're paying in subscriptions every month? Well, the answer is probably more than you think. Over 74% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about. I definitely did. But thanks to Rocket Money, I no longer am wasting money on the ones I forgot about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. With Rocket Money, I have full control over my subscriptions and a clear view of my expenses. I can see all my subscriptions in one place, and if I see something I don't want, Rocket Money can help me cancel it with a few taps. I love how the dashboard shows me this month's spending compared to last month, so I can clearly see my spending habits. Plus, they'll help me create a custom budget and keep my spending on track. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/KYA. That's rocketmoney.com/KYA. rocketmoney.com/KYA. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right. So on the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family page, you put up a post for pet readings.
Yes.
See what the pets are thinking about them was kind of like, I think your theme. I think that's what you were going for.
Right.
For this episode. It got over 800 comments, very popular. We've done these in the past.
Oh my God, I love these.
People always tell us these are some of the most popular segments that we do. So you picked out some of the pets that were complaining about the owners. Is that correct?
So when I went through this thread, I just kind of went through and I picked out the ones that were talking to me, like a couple animals, a couple of your pets that I thought had some complaints, right? But I think that's funny. All right,
that's hysterical.
So who do we got first?
All right, so the first one we have is Carrie H. Mm-hmm. And she has a picture of Gator, and she recently adopted him.
So the thing I get on Gator is he's like, why are there so many rules, lady? What, are you okay? What is this? You adopted him. I have a feeling he might have come from a more lawless place in his life. Maybe he was a little more free, now he's but instead of him being like, oh, I need to adjust, he's like, whoa, we need to get you, some freedom here. Okay. Calm down. Why are there so many rules? Why can't I do this or that or all the things? So I feel like he's telling her this and confused and sees it more of a her problem. This feels like a you problem that, you need me to be on a leash or that we have to not smell certain things or go certain places or whatever. But we'll help you. He's there to help her, break free of a lot of her rules that he seems are silly, which honestly are just rules about having a dog, and he's just got it flip-flopped.
So what you're saying is Gator, and we'll just, because they named him Gator. At one point, he was roaming the Everglades,
yeah, he must have been,
battling, snakes and pythons, whatever, and no lawless, I think of a lawless land, and then all of a sudden he comes to Carrie's home, and there's all these rules and regulations, and he's just not getting it.
Yeah, I feel like basically whatever situation he was in before, he didn't have a normal, dog life, domesticated dog life, and so he's coming in whoa, what's this? Are you guys okay? He just doesn't seem
okay.
He loves them, so he'll do it for them, Yeah. But he's also hoping that he's just got it switched. He's like, I think I have to train you to let this go. That's he's just funny.
And he told you this.
They don't talk.
Right.
Like I just said, they give me feelings. And that was such a strong feeling when I looked at this picture.
Okay.
So I thought that was really funny.
All right. Should we do the next one?
Yeah, do the next one.
All right. So Rebecca C. writes, here is my childhood dog, Lacey. She is 15 and still so spunky and my whole heart. These past couple of years, though, she has had some health issues, and we all know that her time is coming soon, but don't want to think of that and just give her the best life. She really is the best dog and has brought so much joy into our lives. So we have Rebecca's dog, Lacey.
So I mean, such a sweet dog. Like, I get it, you know, and I feel like this dog has an amazing life, by the way, but her complaint, which isn't really, I mean, it's our funny theme for this episode.
Yes.
Because I feel like Rebecca might be like, what is she complaining about? You know, like that, you know,
Right.
and take it real personal. But I get Lacey's complaint is, why are you guys moving me? Or why are you so loud? I feel like she doesn't like to be put out or feel like she has to move or feel like when somebody's sitting near her or something, if she doesn't want them to, like she's got kind of a spatial comfort thing. And when it's bothering her, you know, she wants somebody to understand that you need to move, not me. That kind of thing. She's a little bit of a princess, I would say, in the sweetest way possible. And she loves being in I think she's got certain spots around the house that are definitely her spots. And she's older now, so she might settle in and stay there a little longer, and it's not as fun to move. But when somebody's kind of like loud or disruptive, or they're sitting near her in a way where she feels like she has to move, she's complaining about that.
Okay. So it's kind of like Binks and me, like where we said, you know, and you call him the gentle prince. When the gentle prince comes by and wants my spot and looks around, I'm supposed to move.
Right. I don't think Lacey's big thing is she doesn't like moving, and she doesn't want to feel like she has to or be put out.
Okay. Well, you know, she's 15.
She's 15. She shouldn't move.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling, and Rebecca, they don't move her at all. But she's saying this, so I wonder if somebody's a little bit less
There's somebody
in the house. Maybe there's someone who's a little less aware of this. And I get her kind of being like, what's that noise? Like, oh, like kind of annoyed at a disruptive sound. It could be one person. It's kind of funny. There's always the one in the house. All right.
All right. Next we have Cassie Ann.
Cassie Ann,
sorry. And this is finally. Okay. This is finally the horse. I've owned him for 18 years. He is the sweetest, kindest horse I've ever known. He's getting older now, 20. And I hope he's happy in his semi-retirement, taking my son on pony rides.
I really appreciate Cassie giving me like the side of the horse, because I need to see at least one eye. You know, when you look at a horse straight on, you don't see their eyes.
Right.
So like whenever I do horse readings, I'm like, just give me one eye. I need an eye. All right. So she did. So Mr. Finally here, he's a riot. I got two things with him, two complaints. One, I don't know if he hates the smell of smoke or something. I don't know anything about barns. I don't know anything about horses myself, but I'm smelling smoke, like cigarette smoke or something. And he's like, ugh. So I don't know if somebody who works in the barn smoking, which I don't even know are you allowed to do that in a barn? I would think everything's too flammable. Anyways, I get this smell and he's like, I don't like that. But then the other thing I get is kind of more funny. I get him kind of being like, okay, we're done for the day now. So I wonder, and Cassie will have to tell us this, if when he's done, I don't know, taking someone for a ride or, you know, whatever, he just stops like that. He's just like, I'm not moving. We're done now. Or he's also like, and we're going to walk where I want to walk, not where you think you want to walk. So I feel like that's his complaint. Like, don't tell me what to do. And when I'm done. Like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, he is 20.
Again, yeah, he's an older guy. Yeah. I think that he's very happy giving your son rides.
He likes it.
I feel like your son I'm just looking at, because she gave me a picture of her son on Finally, like riding Finally. And I get the picture, and this actually makes me kind of emotional, that Finally is very protective, loves your son's energy, that makes him feel young and excited about things. And I also get that your son is very cool with Finally's idea of where we're going today. And I feel like he lets your son kind of feel in charge, but he knows that he's in charge. It's kind of like what you do when you're letting a little kid, yeah, you did it, good for you. But that's Finally to your son. And I think that that's really cute.
Oh my gosh. And just a reminder, you can find all these pictures on that thread, the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family page that we put up. Let's go to the next one. Melissa B sent in a picture of her cat, Sophie, and she writes, my old girly.
Poor Sophie. Sophie's like a cat. Sophie is complaining about everything. That's why I picture her.
I'm looking at the picture too. And she does look like she's complaining about everything.
Like, I went by the picture of Sophie and I just heard like, like that.
Okay.
Like it just says it all, you know, in one vibration. Poor Sophie feels like she doesn't understand why there's so many people around. That's the first thing. Like, why can't it be just you and me? I'm assuming she means Melissa.
Okay.
I mean, but like, she's showing me, she's just like, come on, man, come on, like that. And, these cats, they complain, but they don't mean it. That's the other thing. Because, they have their moments where they just are so happy or they're in there, they're cuddling or like doing all the things. But in this picture, I feel like she'd never admit that. And I also get like, she doesn't like noises. And there's some noise in particular. It feels outside. It feels like above her head, or it feels like, so I don't know if there's like a loud, it almost sounds like a really loud engine or without a muffler. I don't know if there's like loud car in around the house or something like, or the lawnmower or something. It sounds like a very loud, she hates it. It stresses her out. She knows what it is, but she doesn't understand. And it's like, she's not accepting that this is just part of the environment. And those are the two things. Like, why? And just too many people, like, I think everyone's like, Sophie, I don't know, she's got like a lot of kids or something, like, I love you so, like, they're all kind of on her, and she's like, oh, please, no, please, Now, she doesn't mean it because they're cats. She's a cat, but I don't want anybody to take it personal.
Okay. Now, I'm noticing a trend here.
I love the cats are like that.
Yeah. I'm noticing, just like with humans.
Yeah.
As our age goes up, so does the amount of complaints. And it seems like with these animals that we've got so far, these pets, with their age going up, so does the complaints.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the older ones complain a lot more about just life.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app or click the link in the show notes.
All right. We have Sarah A. writing in. This is Remy, the small dog, and Teddy, the big dog. They became brothers 4 years ago.
All right. So this is the cutest picture. It's like this little tiny white dog and then this bigger, like, looks like a lab or something. I'm bad with breeds, but that's what it looks like. And so I just get the complaint is something in the backyard. I don't know if they're having like an ongoing fight with a squirrel or like a neighboring dog. There's somebody in the backyard or in their yard or their area. And Remy in particular is like, it's happening again. Like, again.
And Remy, the small dog.
That's a small dog.
She wants, or Remy wants Sarah to fix this. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, then Remy's like, Teddy, come on to the other dog. Like, let's go. So then I think like Remy is So I think Remy's the one in charge. The little one's in charge, honestly. Okay. And Teddy's just like, what are we doing? Like that. And there's just some sort of complaint with something in the backyard. It could be, they're taking it real serious, but it's probably just like a squirrel or something. Like there's somebody entering the backyard or in their space, and Remy's done and is over it, and then is complaining about it, and then gets Teddy involved. So if they all act wild together, Remy's making Teddy do it. Because I feel like Teddy otherwise wouldn't know what's happening. Okay. They're very cute together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that these two would make for a great cartoon.
They would! Teddy and Remy.
Like stories of Teddy and Remy.
It's kind of like, what's that book I'm thinking of where he's like, we'll live off the fat of the land. What's that book? Oh my God. John Steinbeck of Mice and Men, George and Lenny.
Right.
That's what these two remind me of.
Right. So there's one that's like grumpier in there, right? And that would be
the little one is like this, like kind of the smarter one.
Yeah. And
like Teddy is like kind of the big oaf, but loyal, but he's not. He's not the brains
Poor
of the situation.
Teddy.
Very cute.
All right.
What do we got next?
All right. Next we have Ashley. Ashley W.S. writes, "This is my sweet Ruby and Kitty. Meow meow."
No, it's Ruby, and then the cat's name is Kitty Meow Meow.
Oh, that's the kitty. Oh, well, that's my first complaint right there. I don't need to be a pet psychic.
I love Kitty Meow Meow.
Kitty Meow Meow. All right. MM predicted that this cat, before we knew about her, has she been a welcome change. So you predicted that you'd have this cat. I think what she's saying.
All right.
Okay.
So looking at them both. So I'm looking at Ruby and Kitty Meow Meow.
And Ruby's a dog.
Ruby's the dog.
Ruby's the dog.
Ruby's like a dog, and then there's the cat, Kitty Meow Meow.
Okay.
So Ruby, I feel like isn't complaining about anything anymore. Because Ruby feels like, see, these two, I don't even know if this is a complaint, honestly. This is just like a pet reading. Because Ruby feels so happy that Kitty Meow Meow's in charge. All right? Because maybe
Kitty Meow Meow's in charge.
Kitty Meow Meow's in charge. And Ruby, it feels so much more relaxed now that things are finally being taken care of around here, Ashley. All right? Kitty Meow Meow's got it. And Ruby is giving me this energy like, I didn't know what to do. You know, I think maybe she was a little nervous or she wasn't sure what was going on. But Kitty Meow Meow came in and took over. And I feel like Ruby feels a real sense of solace with that because Kitty Meow Meow's in charge. The underlying complaint was what was happening before Kitty Meow Meow. Ruby's complaint seems to be like maybe, and like I said in my spiel before, I am not judging anyone myself. I myself have been walked over by animals my whole life and will continue to be. But I feel like Ruby is suggesting that maybe you needed a little leadership in your life too.
Oh.
Or that, you know, so Kitty Meow Meow, when I look at her individually, she's not really complaining about much either. I feel like she just feels like she's found her place in life. She's really happy. She's head of the household, obviously, and she's got things completely the way she wants them.
Okay.
She feels like she's listened to, and she feels very king of the castle there. That's what I get from that.
And this Kitty Meow
Kitty Meow Meow.
Kitty Meow Meow. I can't even say it.
You can't even say it.
Was predicted by MM. Maybe it's named after you. Meow Meow MM.
I don't even remember that.
Okay.
But I love that. I love it.
All right.
Who we got next?
Samantha S. writes in, my baby Lancelot, green heart. He just went for his first swim in this pic, and I'm not sure he liked it.
That's really funny.
Okay. Did he like the swim?
I wonder if we're getting energy from the photo, because the complaint I'm getting is, again, they don't talk, so it's more of like a vibe I get is like, why are you yelling at me? Like that kind of thing. So I don't know. Remember, it's all from their point of view, not your point of view, what was happening. So from Lancelot's point of view, I feel like he thought he didn't understand like what all the fuss was about. So if I'm reading into that, I'm like, were you guys yelling at him? Were you guys like, hey, do this, wait, like freaking out? It's almost like, were you guys put too much stress on the situation, or like, hey, like that to him? Like, don't touch this, or I don't know. But I get from his complaint is, why are you so loud? Like, why are you yelling at me like that?
Okay.
Like, what's
the big deal?
What's it like it's so loud and unnecessary like that. That's kind of what I get from Lancelot. So I wonder what the whole swim situation was. So when you guys are like, I don't know if he liked it, I'm like, maybe it had something to do with how it was handled versus, I don't know, just from his point of view.
Yeah. I mean, I'm finding patterns here.
What?
One, the age pattern.
Yeah.
As the animal's age goes up, complaints go up. And the other pattern, it seems like we make a lot of noise around them. Like, they complain about all these noises we're making.
That's true. I think with dogs in particular, when we're anxious and loud and we get kind of like hyper, which I think a lot of us just do, they are very sensitive to that. And then they complain about it because you cause them to react, and then their behavior has to change. So yes, I think that's a dog complaint in particular. Okay. We're too much.
All right. Next one we have is Hillary P. writing in. This is my fur baby, Henry. He is the love of my life. Sorry to my partner.
That's funny.
And such a ball of sass. He has the most serious, unique personality in a dog I've ever met. He tells you what he's thinking and is very particular. That's for sure.
Yeah. So when I look at Henry, I got an immediate sense of she obviously knows her dog, I got everything she was saying. That's what it feels like with him. He feels just really confident. Like he almost feels like he could be the CEO of some company. Like I feel like I trust him to run something more than some people. I'm not even kidding. Like he's like really just secure in himself, knows he's a dog. I would say his biggest complaint from what I get is, why didn't you just ask me first? It's a weird, and I'll explain that because I feel like, and this could be something to do with her partner, because I feel like her and him make the choices of what's happening today or what we're doing or whatever. And then the partner, might try to change it or whatever, but it always turns out to be whatever Henry wanted anyhow. So his complaint is like, why did you even bring him into it? Like, just come on. Like why don't you just ask me first?
I kind of relate to Henry.
It's a very much something I've heard you complain about.
Yeah.
Why don't people just listen to me?
Yeah, why don't they just listen to me?
That's Henry. That's Henry's
that's
vibe.
me. Okay.
That's also how Henry feels.
Okay.
Why don't people just listen to me? I already knew what we were going to do and how it would work best.
Yeah. I felt, right when I saw Henry's picture, I felt, I get you. I understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be like, yeah, exactly, man. And then he'd give you tips and you'd take them.
Right. You should take them.
All right. Now I wanted to switch gears and I wanted to look at some of the MMSF pets who've passed and do some mediumship readings.
Okay, before we get into the pet mediumship readings, I do want to read this message that I got from Kendra. Okay, Kendra is one of our moderators. She's Wednesday nights at 8:45. She's pink, purple, and blue, I think, right? Kendra,
Right.
Pink, purple, blue. And this is what she sent in. I was lucky enough to get our dog Lola read on podcast episode 133. Okay, at the 22, just before the 22-minute mark, if you want to go back to that and listen to it. She passed at the end of the summer of 2020 after being our fur baby for almost 14 years.
Wow.
Well, I just started re-listening to the Lola part this morning after the new episode with Rocky's mediumship messages.
Oh, okay. So she's re-listening to that.
Right. So she went back to episode 133 to re-listen. Obviously the Rocky episode inspired her to do that. I thought about Lola all day long. I had a regular work day and picked up Abby, my daughter, from her summer day camp this afternoon. And when I asked Abby about her day, the first thing she said was that she made a new friend.
Oh.
The new friend's name was Lola.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I love how they come through to let us know that they're okay.
Yeah.
And that we're here. And I talked about that a lot on the last episode, but I wanted to open it up to some MMSF pets who've passed. So I just grabbed a couple of these from the thread.
Okay.
All right. So our first one.
All right.
Go ahead.
We'll start with Kelsey. Kelsey K writes in, my girl Shady visits me in my dreams. They feel so real, and I'm always like, oh my God, you didn't die. I never got to say bye to her. She passed while I was at college and my parents were visiting.
Oh.
She waited for us all to leave. I cried for weeks and looked like a loser drawing paw prints on all my college notebooks while crying. She was the absolute best ever. Our whole neighborhood cried when she passed. And then there's a picture of Shady the dog. That's sad.
When I see Shady's picture, she comes through with just motherly energy, which is probably what she was, and just selfless. And man, I think becoming part of a family like Shady did, she knew she was more than, quotes, there's no such thing as just a dog, you know what I mean? But she knew she was more than she was up there. She was a family member, full-fledged family member, and she knew it. And I think she totally did wait till everybody left to die because she just didn't want anyone to see that. And I feel like she was a bit of a lady and she went out with some grace, and that was her choice. And to me, she just feels like she doesn't leave Kelsey at all. In fact, I feel like her around Kelsey's now family and around her and her future and her own home. She feels like a dog that is almost like they cross over, but Shady to me feels like she sticks around, if that makes sense. Just like a mother or a grandmother would. That's what Shady feels like to me. She feels like a mom or a grandma to the kids in her life. I love that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, just look at that picture. It's making me sad.
I know. Because she's like one of those dogs. Like, if you see this picture, you feel it.
Yeah.
Like, she's just one of those dogs that was perfect.
Yeah. All right. Christine V writes in, I recently lost my 16-year-old golden retriever, and I feel her presence a lot. My mom was actually able to see her spirit a couple of weeks ago. She was absolutely my soul dog and my everything.
Oh, that's so hard. When they're old, it's just so hard because you can't imagine life without them. They've become such a part of the family. But looking at this picture of Christine's dog, she comes through. It's amazing that she could come through as a spirit, by the way, like a vision. Like, that's a big deal to be able to see that and to be able to have the power of spirit and the strength of spirit to come through that way. But she comes through like she felt very held back by, obviously she was old, but she felt very held back by her physical condition. And I feel like the real soul of this dog was a playful one, and one who was very eternally puppy. And she can be like that on the other side again. And she's showing me herself rolling around. And she's those things that dogs, I know she's showing me, when a dog goes outside and they act like an absolute silly dog, and they go out and they flop on their back and they just like roll in the dirt and they're just so happy. That's what she's showing me. And I wonder if she's trying to show me she couldn't do that because of, obviously things hurt. But now they don't. So she's just showing me her playful nature. I love that.
I just want to clarify this. Correct me if I'm wrong. These pictures are coming from a different post. So the first set came from the post we discussed earlier, but these pictures are coming from the post where we were talking about the episode on Rocky last week.
Yeah, with the Rainbow Bridge art.
Okay, so yeah. So if you are looking for these pets that have passed, it would be on a different thread in the Mystic Michaela Spiritual
Yes,
family.
this is a thread that you posted. Right.
Okay. All right, next we have Evelyn A., and she writes in, my sweet, sweet first dog, Pepper, who I got in middle school, waited for me to get married before it was her time to go.
Oh.
It seems like also a kind of a
they do.
theme. They wait.
Yes.
The morning after my wedding, she stopped eating and let us know it was time. She always has a caregiving energy, but by my side, anytime I was sick or sad. These are sad.
I know.
These are hard to read.
This one's getting hard. This one's hard.
It's only made sense that she wanted to be there through my wedding, and then she knew it was okay to rest.
I know. Scott's crying. I am too. Pepper.
Pepper. I have.
No, you know what? It's
this is weird. I don't even know Pepper, but I'm crying.
It's Pepper's unconditional love.
Oh my god!
Like she's just unconditional. So the first thing that you're getting is her unconditional love.
Yeah.
And just like people, I feel this all the time with dogs, and I feel it with Pepper. She wanted to wait until she could go. She stayed longer than she otherwise would have, but she felt like she had a job. And when dogs feel like they have a job, they're happy dogs. And I feel like her job was you, Evelyn. And maybe she felt like, okay, you're okay now. I can rest and you're taken care of. And Pepper. So that's what I get. And you're just getting it too, Scott. Okay. Just like this sweet energy from Pepper and the love.
Just take a break for a quick second. When you're doing readings, individual readings, not on the podcast.
Yeah.
People can send in pictures of their pets. I'm sure you've done many, many ones where the pets have passed. Do you sometimes start crying in the middle of the reading?
Sometimes. Every time I do readings,
really?
I'm crying. If you've had a reading with me, chances are you've heard me cry with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or I'll say because I'm an empathic medium. So that means that I get first their feelings. That's how they come through me emotionally. And they do this to you guys too, by the way, because when someone you love passes, you become the medium. So one of the big things is emotion. That's how they come through. So I'll feel like with Pepper, I felt Pepper's stoic love, and you probably just did too.
Yeah, I just started
and her
crying.
love is unconditional. And she totally did tell them, all right, it's time for me to go now. I have to. And also and when a dog can do that, not all of them can do that, but when they can, it's such a gift. And trust yourself if you've ever felt that your dog told you it was time, because sometimes they do. They just look at you and they're like, okay, help me out here. And
how do you compose yourself after that? In the reading we're talking about now.
I just cry.
You just cry and then
we just do it together. We just get through it together
and then move on.
Yeah, we just get through it together because once you get through the first tear part in a reading like this, there's always a beautiful memory attached to it, and so you just got to get over the hump of the first sad feeling, and then you get through it together. Oh, wow. But Pepper, I mean, to know that kind of love is such a gift that I would think it's only right to have the payment of pain for it. You know what I mean? Like if you didn't, it wouldn't hurt so much if it didn't count. And if I'm feeling it and you're feeling it, poor Evelyn and her family.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of the listeners are feeling it.
Sure. And all these dogs. I mean, dogs are like, people say we don't deserve them. We don't. They are perfect. Animals are just amazing.
Okay. Amy H. writes in, I actually had a visual visitation from Lola too. Lulu.
It's Lola Lou.
Lola Lou. I was super stressed out leaving home for a long trip and had been talking to her. Then one day, all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her jump on the couch. I immediately yelled her name and was shaken. My husband came running in from the kitchen and wondering what was going on. He is used to my woo-woo stuff. She has visited before, but just not visually. It was wild. The love and bond never leave.
I love that Amy's husband heard a commotion and he runs in and she's like,
Right.
I just saw the dog who's dead jump on the couch. And he's like, okay, this is normal for our life. I think that's sweet.
Right.
When I look at Lola Lou, she feels like very protective energy, first of all. Very protective, in charge, sweet, her personality I'm getting is extremely, I feel like her space living in the house was her space and she loved the home, and all dogs, love where they live and take ownership of it. But Lola Lou to me feels like she would, she's still there, and that jumping on the couch and being around and making sure that's like her way of being like, I still own this joint and I'm still present. And a lot of times I'll see with dogs like this, when you adopt a new dog or whatever, the new dog can kind of sense that, I'm sharing this space. I guess what I'm trying to say is Lola Lou feels like she didn't quite leave, and her presence is felt by possibly other animals in the house or any animals that you bring in the future. But I feel like that was her personality. Like she was, kind of an in-charge leadership dog. That's what I get on Lola Lou.
Okay.
Oh, that's sweet. That's cool when you see them.
Yeah. Oh. All right.
You ready for the next one?
We have CJ writing in about Eleanor.
Yes. Oh, this one got me. Now, this is weird.
Yeah.
I have to say something about this before you read it.
Okay.
I was going through the posts, and scrolling real quick, just kind of like letting my psychic intuition take over and be like allow my vibrations to pick up the animals that were talking most to me, my own thing. And this picture of this cat, Eleanor, started glitching. And I went past it because I'm like, what's wrong with Facebook? And then it stopped and brought me back to Eleanor. This happened about 4 times. So I'm like, obviously we're doing this one.
We're doing this
So CJ talks about losing Eleanor. Go ahead.
Okay. The night we got home from sending Eleanor across the Rainbow Bridge, I got in my tub and began to sob. My boyfriend came in and told me to check out the clouds. I looked up and saw a cloud that looked like a cat sitting stoically, as Eleanor often did. As I continued to watch it, the moon burst forward from the cat's cloud's chest. My daughter, who was the closest to Eleanor, has always loved the moon. I took this as a sign that Eleanor wanted us to know she's okay now and no longer in pain. I miss her so much, and it's so painful. My daughter is in an enormous amount of pain. All I want to do is take it away. But I know her pain is a testament to the beauty of a love that she shared with Eleanor.
Yeah.
Oh, Eleanor.
So Eleanor obviously came through really strong for this podcast episode. When I look at Eleanor, the pain part, that was bad. I feel like there was no other option. And at the end of her life, you were seeing just a version of Eleanor that feels almost traumatic, honestly, for both Eleanor and everyone around you. She was a sweet cat. She comes through very motherly, very gentle, really gentle with her paws. Some cats are, some cats aren't. Eleanor feels very gentle with her paws, like on the face. And I wonder if she comes through too, and you got to ask your daughter, CJ, if something with feeling kitty paws on her face or feeling kitty paws, because that's how she's coming through to me. I'm feeling soft paws on my face. And I get with Eleanor just a gratitude that you gave her the life that you did for the amount of time that she had. I feel like it was a short amount of time on this earth plane, but for whatever reason, I feel like she was some sort of higher soul that had to experience this. And this is giving me stuff that, when I start to sound like crazy psychic lady, CPL, as somebody told me I could start calling. So somebody's like, crazy psychic lady, CPL. Okay. CPL. I get her kind of like a higher soul coming through as a cat, and then kind of needing to leave. So there was some sort of, she feels like a higher level energy. Anyways, she comes through very soft and sweet and motherly and very loud in spirit. And I think you did her a gift by saving her any further suffering.
Oh, okay.
That's really hard. All right, who do you got next?
Next is Ellie W. writes in about her boy Tucker. Our boy Tucker, he was in my family's life for a short time, but boy, were they some great years. Tucker was found tied to a pole in New Orleans, was rescued and brought to Ohio.
Oh my God.
Red, kicking big in from the blue.
Can you imagine?
Our family adopted him, and shortly he became my dad's soul dog.
Oh.
Though we don't know his life before he came to us, he showed us nothing but loyalty and sweetness. He was protective of my family. He was my dad's best friend. I dream of him sometimes, but the one I remember was his leading a line of other pets' animals on a trail in the woods.
Oh.
I asked him over and over excitedly, Tucker, why are you here? How are you here? I was so happy to see him. I love you, Tucker.
Oh.
Pop misses you so much.
Oh, God.
I can't do these people.
This is so hard. We're like sobbing here.
Yeah, I went from red to blue in like
Tucker.
seconds.
Tucker comes through like such a boss.
Yeah.
Like he's got boss vibes. He's super cool. I talked about the complaints of some dogs like, why are you putting me on a leash? That's Tucker. He's like, I don't need that. Like, I don't need a leash, you know. Yeah, Tucker comes through very boss, very strong. Like he just wants to be playful and in charge, and that's just how he comes through. I feel like there's something with the way that he passed. I do get that he held on. I feel like it was a surprise in a way, but something that had to happen. Sometimes when I get that, it's like an illness that comes on quick and sudden, but we can't really fix it, like that kind of thing. And so we know it's happening, but it just happens really quick like that. And I feel like it surprised Tucker too. Because Tucker, I feel like, was kind of a mind over matter kind of guy. Like, I'm good. It's all right. No big deal. And I feel like he would get himself, he's funny, into situations because he's showing me his nose leading him. And he was curious. So very friendly to other animals and stuff like that, but also a little bit, I think that could get you into trouble. I don't know. My nose hurts. So I don't know if he got it attacked by something at some point. That's kind of what I'm getting. Did something attack Tucker's face or his nose? Did he put his face somewhere where he shouldn't have? It's kind of like a funny feeling I get, but yeah, his energy, he feels like, honestly, like an animal you get a tattoo of. You know, like this, Tucker's got a vibe that you don't want to ever forget. Like we all need a little Tucker. And that's what I get on him. Yeah. Like if you were going to get like a sigil, is that what they're called? What's it? Because we're watching Mandalorian and you get like what's that called on your armor?
The signet?
Signet. Sigil. I mean, if you got a signet, I think Tucker would be a cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
He's cool.
Well, I do have to give some bad news here.
Yeah.
Okay. As most of you know, the MMSF has a mascot. This podcast has a mascot. It is Hammy the hamster. No hamster has ever gotten such a good reading in the world, the history of the world, than the reading that Hammy got from you.
Episode 171.
171.
If you want to listen to it.
It is just amazing. And I have some very bad news that our mascot has passed. Carla, the mom, and her students were also the mom and dads to this hamster. While we're on the sad subject, I've been waiting for a good time for a while. She didn't want to tell us.
Carla didn't want to break the news.
Yeah. She wanted to now let everyone know that Hammy has passed. Rest in peace, little Hammy. We love you. We gave her a resting spot in the forest so she can finally be wild and free like she always wanted. And you know the story how she got around the classroom or whatever.
Right.
So poor Hammy. Deirdre M. also wrote in, rest in peace, Hammy, the hamster who brought so much joy that she was worshipped by a jovial cult.
What hamster can say that?
I mean,
truly. That a jovial cult made you their mascot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's epic.
Yes. And it doesn't end here. Hammy, you are still the mascot.
Yes.
In spirit, you are still the KYA mascot.
Hammy lives on.
Yes.
Hammy. Yeah. And if you want to listen to that reading, it was episode 171. And then if you search Hammy on the page, Carla, Hammy's mom, filled us in on Hammy's backstory, which was one of adventure and one legends are made of, quite possibly.
I even have a t-shirt with Hammy's picture on it.
You do, and some other people do too. Who came to the event on 11/11 last year. So we're so sorry about Hammy, but let's all send Hammy and his mom a big bunch of love right now. Also, if you go to knowyouraura.com, we have a new quiz.
Yes, let's end this on a positive note.
Yes.
There's a lot of quizzes there. Everything from figuring out your aura color to angel numbers. We have quizzes on the challenge. Which,
the challenge, historical figures,
and
we have a new one. If your animal was an aura, which animal would it be? Wait, if your aura was an animal.
which would it be? I got bear.
Would it be?
I got the bear.
Yeah, I got deer.
Deer. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Bear makes sense for me, I think.
Okay.
I think. Right?
Deer makes sense for me, yeah.
Yeah,
because I'm a little skittish. I feel like I am too. So that's good. But yeah, so go take it. Tell us what you get. Share it. Helps us out a lot. And this podcast is for you and about you. And I'm so glad you spent some time with us today.